people define fitness so differently. How do you define fitness? What is it to you?
I always got into fitness really for like aesthetic purposes. You know, when I got my WWE tryout though, it like switched my mindset because I had always worked out just to look good in front of a camera. And when I got my WWE tryout and I had heard stories about how hard it was like, oh, now I'm training to be faster, to be stronger. And so that changed my mindset a lot. And when it did, I actually put on a lot more muscle. Yeah. And it changed like my body completely.
So when you started training for performance, you worked harder in the gym?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't just mindlessly, I guess, lifting things.
Gotcha.
And like there was more of like a purpose to it. And I was actually like reading up on like actual workouts. So
it was like having that goal of the tryout is what inspired, like, I'm going to do everything I can to make this happen.
Right. Yeah. Right. I was like, oh, deadlifts. Oh, okay. Like sled pushes. Okay, let's do those.
Things nobody wants to do, right?
Exactly. I still don't want to do that.
Yeah, of course. You got to make yourself do it, right?
Right.
So how long into your career was the WWE tryout?
I think maybe like 2-3 years in at that point. I didn't really have matches regularly when I got the tryout. I think I was only maybe 1.5 years of training and then like sporadic matches at that point. But I wasn't like regularly booked.
Gotcha.
Anywhere.
So I remember like a story about that. You and I were together when you found out about the tryout.
Yeah.
Right? So we were doing extra work for WWE.
Yeah.
And for anybody who doesn't know, the extra work is when you travel to TV, the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, whatever city they're in, and you, if they need a security guard or ravers, like we were ravers one time, right? Or like paramedics or something, like we would play the role of that, right?
Right.
And I remember like it was Tuesday, and the best thing about it is when they say, hey guys, we don't need you tonight, and we can just go to catering. Yeah, it's the best part, right? So like, they say, we don't need you guys. Like, awesome, we're about to head to catering, and you're like, I just got a tryout. So with the WWE tryout, from the time that you knew about it to the time that you had to report to Orlando, and it's a 3-day camp, it's a serious physical taxing thing, right?
Right.
It's funny when you go to try out for the WWE, they're barely looking at your wrestling skills, right?
Right.
They're just like, I mean, you tell us about like your experience there.
It was the best, worst days of my life. Like it's like the best days because you're just like, wow, like I made it, like this is so cool. And it's also the worst days because you're like, my body hurts so much.
Yeah, like waking up day 2 from just being beat up all day, day 1.
Yeah, so like the first day they like, you meet with like the strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
So you're lifting and you're doing these workouts and they're not awful. I mean, they're challenging, but the next day you wake up really sore. And then the next day, that's when you have to do the rolls and the bumps. And I remember we hit the ropes, and you know, we hit the ropes all the time in training, so your back is like conditioned to that feeling. It's not a great feeling.
Like bouncing off the ropes back and forth.
Yeah, but their ropes are actual ropes where we have cables.
Yeah.
And so I've never hit real ropes before. And so after that first day, it was like welts all across my back. Oof. Just from one day of training. And then also being sore from doing the conditioning the first day, and then you still have another day of doing it, and your body is just like, nah, man.
And you still want to perform like better than you ever have before, right?
Yeah.
And how long did you have from the time that you heard about the tryout to showing up to Orlando for the camp?
It was 2 months.
So 2 months where you're doing the hardest conditioning of your life. You're doing all these drills. Weren't you working with someone from the Rockets?
I was friends with this guy who was the strength and conditioning coach for the Rockets, and he helped me a lot. And because I was kind of just like mindlessly working out, and he was just like, no, you need to do like these kinds of workouts to help with your like explosion. You need to do this, and I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Okay, so he was giving you the guidance, and the structure of like how to move past just the aesthetics. Yeah. So even with 2 months of these insane Rockets style workouts, it's still really hard. It still wrecked you when you went to the camp. Yeah. That's funny.